Hey, welcome, Football Stalkers, for yet another edition of Football Stalkers. Laidmus, give Mr. Koza, Irvin, the master,
Irvin.
the master tactician, the master tactician fan. And as always, I am not alone. La wana muse, Lesanda wana, Madam Chair, Sesi Tlholo, King the Elias Siding Zaha. Well, I know. When I tell you, never off air. Anyway, you can see her handle. Thank you for joining us, Tlholo, again.
Pleasure.
Yebo. And then come on left. Let me start that side. I don't know what a confuser. This changing of jerseys, Swallows, Chipa United,
Sundowns.
The thing is, regardless of Mona Priya Sundowns, Marzedi would say, what yapa?
Sundowns by heart.
I will never wear Pirates or Sundowns. Any other jersey.
Sundowns by heart.
But I'm a Kosi. For life.
Well, thank you, Tlholo, for joining us. Like I want to learn a handle high to please follow and interact with him. And then, on my barking left again, Mr. Hafarlek himself, our TikTok sensation. Hey, what's content too?
Content creator.
Same thing, o tlo bona handle high. La wa ke batla se ba le two, la bona re ba tshwara ba lifta nyana, so ba tla sorta out nyana da. If it gets out of hand. And then thanks la bona muziki drinks go monate. Okay, we'll take it back if I give it.
But we need more
La bona muziki yeah, humonat. Let's get going. Benni McCarthy gets fired. Justified or unjustified?
Justified.
Why?
Why?
Answer for mixed side.
No, because I think it's not justified.
Why?
When
Yeah,
it's Amazon, their second season under the new leadership.
okay.
They are number 10 on the log. They've been playing in Africa. So it's a team that, in my opinion, didn't beef up their squad from last season. Yes, they did well last season. It was Benny's first season. It took them to the second in the log last season. But now you should be giving the guy one more season after he did so well, or maybe give him the material to work with
Okay.
if you want the results. But again, coming to Uche Farlek, I think his openness in the media might have been his downfall in terms of how he feels about how things are done in the team.
The way he criticized his president of the team. And again, Benni being Benni. Benni doing what Benni does. He always do well FSC. Like I said, remember when he was first hired?
Yes.
On our episode I said it.
I remember we had that
First
conversation.
season, Benni will do well. Second season, he will fail. And doing well for first season is because players that are scared, some they are trying to impress.
Okay.
Come second season, they are used to the coach now.
Okay.
Then that's where his leadership must come. His skills must come. Playing CAF is not just playing at home.
Yes.
You must ask Kaiser Chiefs. You go to CAF,
No, we got to the final.
yeah, and then what happened at home? What happened at home? They were number 9, they were fighting for top 8. Usually they were fighting for relegation while they were busy in CAF. Only Sundowns can do it for 6 years. Winning the league and playing CAF. You can't play CAF and win the league. It's only Sundowns that can do that.
I think you can.
Even Paris
You
played.
just need to have the depth and the squad for it, right? Because the reality is it takes a toll on the players.
Yeah.
It takes a toll on the team as a whole, the club as a whole, financially and otherwise. You are traveling, you don't have enough time to practice, you don't have enough time to rest. So I think in terms of your personnel, if you're gonna be doing both and you want to do well in both, then you need to beef up your squad, and Amazulu didn't do that.
That's where
You need to spend, right? And I think the other thing, for me, justified or unjustified, I wouldn't say either. I don't know where I fall in that, but I think it was coming.
So, okay, maybe to add into either we say justified or unjustified. So in the league, Benny's win percentage is 17%.
which is poor.
That's low.
17.
Very, very low.
1-7.
1-7. 1-7.
So she's very poor.
But another thing. So at the moment, Amazulu is 10th on the log. Ne?
Yeah.
And they are, I think, about 1 point. If they win just one game, they get into the top 8. They can even go as far as 7, 6. So they're not that far off for the top 8. They're definitely not in the relegation fight. But if they win one game, they can qualify for the top 8.
But as much as we say Amazulu didn't give up the squad, with the team that they have now, do you think that team is not good enough?
So here's the thing.
You have Mamela, you have Malenga.
Mara le pedile, ke memela.
Okay, Memela, whatever. You have Memela, they say Memela, Malenga, yes, men.
I think they added Olago. No, that one from Mubara, but they also added from Marisberg. Kind of who's that player? Is it Marisberg? Yes. Benni.
Like they do have quality players, to be honest. They do have quality players.
Quality for what?
For the PSL.
For the PSL.
Okay.
Like I don't count their Kev. Kev was just for an experience.
And they
But
were
for PSL,
doing well, apart from obviously them losing. But they did well for their first campaign.
They tried. But remember what Benni said? He said he will do better than Chiefs.
That's the issue. You know, you are creating expectations without knowing what you will work with. Now you are committing that you are going to do better than Chiefs. Did he do better than Chiefs?
He failed this
Looks
week.
are not consistent.
But okay, look at it from this way. Ne? I get it. We now go back to we have hindsight now. We can talk about what happened, but let's go back before us knowing what was going to happen. Chiefs, Amazulu is second on the log. Ne?
This is it.
In the season, they definitely were a good team.
Yeah.
Better than Chiefs last season. Ne? And then you look at the Chiefs squad who were able to go as far as the final. But maybe something that Benny
No,
didn't
but
factor
better than Chiefs in what sense?
in the PSL.
No, but this is what I want to argue. Chiefs was slacking in the PSL because they were focused on CAF. Therefore,
that's
it
where I
took
was
a
going
strain
with
on
this.
them in the PSL. It doesn't necessarily mean Amazulu was better or that it wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to say that they were better is a bit unfair.
But I get it.
Because
That's why I was
you're
going with
comparing
this.
apples with oranges.
I was going with this, man.
Okay.
I get it. When the apples with apples would mean in the PSL, Amazulu are far better than Chiefs. In the PSL, stats show exactly that. Amazulu were playing better. They were there, but like you're saying, Chiefs was focusing on CAF, and what happened? Their PSL situation struggled, and this is where I was going to say that maybe Benny, what he needed to factor in then was, well, for Chiefs to be that poor in the PSL and to be that good in the Champions League, they put all their focus there. So if I want to do better than Chiefs, that would then mean that I need to put a lot of focus on CAF and possibly struggle in the league, which is exactly what happened. But unfortunately for him, he somehow wanted to juggle the two, and he ended up losing on both. So now,
Can you say that last goal?
yeah,
First time playing in CAF ever, and you end up in the group stages. I think that's commendable.
it is.
He tried.
No, I
think
mean,
it's
for
commendable.
even beating Tipi Mazembe to even go to the group stages, that was a good feat. Ne? And look, we saw Amazulu in the Champions League. Amazulu is a quality team. They played. If anything, if I was Benny, I was going to say, look, you can blame me as a coach and all of that, but equally, probably even more, you need to blame the players. How many missed chances did the Memelas, the Mulengas, like sitters? Tlholo, like, this was supposed to be a goal, and yet they missed. Even that game that they lost against the Raja Casablanca, how many chances did they miss? The game against City, how many games did the goals did they miss? So we can blame the coach all we want, but the players need to be equally blamed because
I don't think they could have blamed his mouth.
I think we are being. I get the complaints regarding Benny's vocal abilities.
what's that what you call it? Vocal ability.
Right? But I think we need to make peace and understand that personalities are different and people, express themselves differently. He's just the exact same way.
But-
He's not being thrown shade at because he is doing
winning.
well.
Yeah.
But
Right?
wait, before you
But
finish,
that is still
my
Benny's
problem with Benny-
personality.
My problem with Benny, Peter will do that, but he will never blame him, President Motsepe
Yeah.
or his president.
You want to take management?
My only problem with Benny
I get
was
you.
my only problem was that
get
part.
you.
When he win, he will never talk about players that he wanted that he didn't get.
Kevin did the same thing, didn't he?
He lost the job.
You lost the job.
He lost the job.
And
He barely did the same thing in Cape Town. He lost the job.
yeah, but you see, the
So
thing
he's
is that-
saying don't try. But
No, but
now
it's different. Cape Town City is different. Cape Town City, yes, he spoke, but I would say that was justified because he was forced to play a certain player because the club signed somebody and they had whatever agreements and they were forcing him to play a player that he didn't want to play. But in club football, we know you can identify a player that you want. There's a second option, a third option, and all of that. In an event that you're unable to get the one that you want. That is normal. And then you can be unhappy about the player you get because it's not your first choice or whatever. But it shouldn't then be something that you then blame management and say, yeah, well, they're giving me these players. Come on. And like you're saying, I think maybe also another realization is that it's Amazulu. Were you thinking you're going to compete with Mamelodi Sundowns in signing certain players?
No.
No.
Let me get in there and say, Cafe season Yabon Amazon. I was one person who was happy for them. Well, because the president came out as 100%. And at that time, he brought in so many players. So I was like, okay, this guy knows what he wants. He said, after so long, I want to win the league. So last season, he said, I want to be in this position. They ended up in
Being
position
better than
number
that.
2.
Yeah. You said
So
top four.
to me, it says, okay, the following season we are going to give up more because now we have more to do. We have a care football to play. But he did not do that. So as a president, do you put your money where your mouth is? I didn't think so this season.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think maybe we can argue about the level of quality of the players that he got, but we can't then blame that he didn't do anything. He did. He got players. We mentioned the Mubarak. Mubarak is a good player. You can argue and say Mubarak is not Champions League player, but he's a good player. You've got Buchanan, who's there, good player. You've got Umulenga, good player. You've got Memela, who plays better at Amazon, good player. You've got the goalkeeper, good player.
Even Nduli, you have Nduli, he's a striker.
Yes,
top quality striker.
before the Sitebe situation, good player. Yabo? So it's not like Amazulu is a bad team. There's good players there. Now, to some extent, you can say, Benny, you need to butter your bread, and your bread is the PSL, first and foremost. You can one Kev, but if you're not doing well in PSL, what do you think you'll end
No,
up?
but I
doing
think,
bad
I
in the
think here's the
PSL.
thing. I
How many
think we
goals?
speak a lot
the
from a
thing.
place of assumption, right?
Okay.
In the sense that we assume that the priority should have been the PSL, right? Even though you're doing okay in Champions League, you should have prioritized the PSL. That's what we're assuming, because he was doing bad in the PSL and he ended up getting sacked, right? But I think what we are forgetting here is, and that's a question I want to pose, is to say, where are the goals that were set for him realistic? Same squad that you have, you did well in the PSL. That squad was good enough for that. Is it still good enough? That same squad, Amazulu was barely beefed up. For Champions League, they were barely beefed up.
But the signing
Here's an
Are we
argument.
saying the squad that existed was good enough to also then go all the way in
Both the league
in both the league and Champions League. And I think the comparison to Kaiser Chiefs, here's my other thing that Benny likes to compare. If I had the
Even
money
compared
of my
them
Sundowns,
I would do better.
I would, you know, no, he mustn't compare.
Yeah.
He compared himself and said he would do better than Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah.
There's still an argument as to whether that thing was a fluke or not. Right? I'm not saying it was, I'm not saying it wasn't. Yeah, Chiefs. But
No, it wasn't. But go on.
I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it wasn't. But what I am saying is, why are you trying to compare? Do you get
Why
what I
don't you
mean?
focus on
Your
yourself?
playing style is different. The quality of your players is different. Everything about your team is so different to what Kaiser Chiefs is. Yet you want to compare yourself with them.
Here's the thing, Phil. I want to answer this by asking a question. I think it's best that we use Coach Pito as a reference. Ne? Coach Pito comes to Sundowns, ne? And he always references that for me to go back to CAF, I need to always win the league or be number 2.
Yeah.
Which is something that was his main focus. He wants the Champions League, but I need to do better here for me to be there constantly. He did that on a consistent level. Ne? Now, again, the buttering of bread and all of that. Now, I understand the inspiration, or you aspire to do well in the CAF Champions League. Like you said, you're a beginner. And if you want to test yourself, you can see your squad, prioritize the PSL. Now, we can say we're going on an assumption, but I think our assumption, it's more or less what probably happened, because you had a coach who came out and told us that he wants to do one better than Kaiser Chiefs. We even saw, even in the way that they were playing CAF, that their priority was CAF, which probably maybe that was his downfall. You know, Benni, this is your first time around in CAF. And
Still a baby.
you
You are
got
still a baby.
you're still a baby. Instead of even Coach Pito in the first early years, when we lost against Botipi Mazam, he said we're paying our school fees.
Yeah.
He was getting the experience of CAF. We qualified even before qualifying, we didn't qualify for the group stages.
Yeah, we used to get
He kept on
knocked
going up until he knew how to do it.
Who's we?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a son of support.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about Sundowns.
Please, I'm wearing this for the States. I am a Morocco Swallows supporter. I kill a swai.
I believe you.
Please.
So Marabel, you know, I think we polite. We polite. The bra, Benni, he had no he didn't have a chance to win the Champions League.
Not sure.
He didn't have a chance to win Champions League. So the league.
Did we think Chiefs had a chance before they got to the final?
No. And then.
So I think that is that. So I think your statement
But
at a certain point.
But you know the Chiefs. Okay, let me go.
I don't think there was. I agree with that. Instinct is to criticize, right? But what is the one thing that, and I know we're diverting
One
from the
thing
Benni
Chiefs- you
situation,
know, one thing
but the
Chiefs-
one thing Chiefs got right in CAF was the fact that they didn't concede.
Yeah.
And that,
They were
if you
playing
look at
safe.
it,
They were playing safe.
no, they didn't concede, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
what I'm
got
talking
them
about.
all
They
the
were playing
way.
safe. That's
So,
why we
so
see
as
them-
much as we can say there was a bit of luck,
Yeah.
there was also consistency from them in that aspect.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a bit of playing it smart
They
from
played
them.
smart.
They were very defensive about it, and whatever little opportunity they got, they hoyed.
And
They
Champions,
used what they had.
Champions League.
Like Gavin Hunt did
Gavin
say.
Hunt. Gavin Hunt. Remember Gavin Hunt? He was in CAF
The one who
before.
said CAF is overrated.
But he felt CAF with this.
Yeah.
He was in. He
CAF
played CAF with
Champions League is a
this.
very awkward competition.
Yeah.
Very awkward. And when you see the difference between CAF and PSL, PSL is not awkward.
Yeah.
Either you're a good team, a better team, then you'll get results.
You'll get results.
If not, you won't. It's as simple as that. Whereas with CAF, and we saw that with Chiefs, and probably in other instances where
The way
CAF
they
is a
beat
very
Wigan.
awkward. Yes.
Imagine, no one saw Chiefs beat Wigan.
Nobody. It's a very awkward competition there. So whether we can say it was luck or they did well in playing it safe and not conceding a lot of goals, and they went through and all
And
of
it
that. That
worked
was
for
the
them.
game plan. It worked for them.
And it worked for them, yeah.
But, and this is another thing that we go to Benni. You can say against the team they were a better team. Ne? Did they win? No, they lost. 2-0.
But here's the thing, and maybe that's why you say CAF is a bit awkward, is that with CAF and luck a lot of cup competitions as well, it's not just about being better.
Yeah.
It's about grinding the results.
Yes.
Grinding the results.
Is the most important
Yes.
thing.
Grinding the results
In the
and
PSL, you
taking your
have time
chances.
To be better because it's a marathon.
It's a marathon.
It's a marathon.
When you're running a race, that's like sprint.
Sprint,
Yeah.
100 meter, 100
It's
meter.
about grinding the results.
Yeah.
It's not about being better.
Yeah.
Being clinical and all
Right.
that.
And this is why we then tend to say campus is awkward because London Sundowns can do also well in
In
group
groups
stages.
and then fail.
And then get to quarterfinals, you knock out.
For example-
It's not about the beautiful
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
It's not about the number of complete passes. It's not about any of that. It's about grinding the results.
Knowing when to
Something
kill.
Chiefs did underhand.
Yeah.
I think that's something they did.
Because-
Because did say
Right.
we saw we don't have legs.
Yeah.
So what do? We play safe.
Yeah. That's what
We
I'm saying.
become
Yeah.
more direct. That's what they did.
You sit back,
They scored with,
you allow
with-
them
with
to
those,
have the ball.
With those crosses. That's how they scored. Now I feel like Amazul wanted to look good in
And
camp
that-
football.
The same thing,
Melody
you know-
Sundowns did in this group stages by
Yes.
breaking the CAF record of 16 points.
And and again,
They have depth.
Yeah.
They can afford to do that.
but again, you know that this thing here, Benni, what Benni did with Amazon now is what Sundowns did last season. It's the same mistake we did. Because last season, if you can check our game against Al Ahly away, we went all out. Like we didn't care about conceding. And then we conceded 2 goals. Then that was it. You come home, Bonaparte, they are safe. They have 2 goals, they come home and they come here, they scored
we
1,
concede the
and
first
then
goal.
exit. So Benni was going all out. In Cape, you don't do that. Play safe,
No, you
especially
can,
away.
Because we did this season.
Because
we
we-
just did it smart.
But now
Yeah,
we did it
no,
smart.
this season, yeah.
Like we learned from last season.
And it comes back to what you said, to say, this thing takes experience.
Yeah.
You
It's a
play
baby
your
step.
school
It's a
fees.
baby step.
Like the representative Yapeni did say, Uti, you want to compete with Abo Chiefs who were formed years ago, who have got so much experience. You've just came in, you want to compete with them.
You must compete with
according to
arrows.
him, that was not realistic for Upen to be expected to do better. But coming back to what he said, his mouth too. He came to the league and
This
said,
biggest assets and his
yes, he came to the league and said we are becoming swallows, meaning we are growing
Yeah,
a
we are
lot.
growing.
That's now throwing your players under the bus.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is with that, man, wasn't he then wasn't that then a sign for him to say
I give up.
I need to get focus on the PSL because I'm drawing too many games. Man, I need to do something for us to win the games because they have a lot of draws. But I mean, guys, 17%
But then what
win
else- but
percentage
also
in the
now let's
PSL.
see,
That's
what is it that
relegation.
let's see, what is it that you do when half the time you're in the air? What is it that you do different when you have to choose between exploiting your players and letting them rest? And if you do exploit them, then you're risking higher chances of injury. What do you do? And I want to come here and defend Benni and say, his hands were tied. If he wanted to do well in the PSL, he had to sacrifice more. Because
Yes.
he just didn't have the
And he failed. He failed. And he failed to
you
do
don't
that.
have the depth. And not to say your players are not quality,
Yeah.
none of it.
Yes.
It's just, it's a different ballgame.
So
So
for
to
you-
answer his question, we're saying it was not warranted.
Because
So to answer the question, we're saying it was not warranted because there was no
I said I'm not.
There was, if for instance, I would say, if the Zungu brothers expected him to do well in CAF and the PSL, it's unwarranted,
Yeah.
given the squad that
they
he has.
have, yes.
But if there was never such a mandate about
Yeah.
CAF, but because let's look at this.
He could have just put himself under the spotlight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they said, oh, yeah, man,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because remember, ever since I've heard the Zungu brothers talk, they always spoke about top four.
Top four in the league.
They never said anything about CAF.
Yeah.
They always spoke about top 4. And maybe Benni is the one that then went on and say, I can
do better than Chiefs.
and all of that. And then Mr. Zungu goes and remember, this is now a business person, right? Okay, look, we're almost done with the season, Benni. I'm looking at you and you're not going to make it top 4. Yeah.
That's
Your
my
win percentage
priority.
is very low.
Top 4 being my priority.
Yeah, top 4 being my priority, you're not going to make it. You will fall outside.
And you're out
so
of
you're
curve.
not meeting my mandate.
And you're out of curve. The one that you said you'll do better than Chiefs.
I think, okay, he was out of, was he fired?
He was out.
He was out.
He was out. Only
It
one
was
game
after
left.
the loss.
After the loss.
It
Yeah,
was after
then he's
the
like,
loss.
well, you're not meeting your mandate.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fire you. So maybe in that aspect, then you say, well, Benni didn't meet his contractual obligation, which is top 4.
Yes.
So then it's warranted in that state.
Because
but given the fact that he was juggling the two, then we can then say, well, probably maybe Benni did a better job with that squad.
Okay, let's say Benni did better, but the problem was his own aim, like telling us like, I will do better than Chiefs. I can challenge Sundowns. Like, you see what that man na se dile standard.
Yeah, he must come down a bit.
Yeah, he na se dile standard. And standard say adi se dile nga ofela. O di fades.
Okay.
Tan sa gore na ile challenge Sundowns o fades. Better than Chiefs o fades.
Let's
So
now.
we're saying he was a bit too ambitious.
Yeah,
I need to come down.
You did too much than what
Nothing
you
wrong
could
with ambition.
You can't just fly. You need to at least the Tomaranya. You will fall.